What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitical Response. We cover political news, keep you up to date, and keep you informed with everything that the government does, or at least everything that we can, because the government's always doing some shady stuff behind the scenes that we don't catch. As a matter of fact, the Supreme Court was hearing oral arguments today from some of the shady crap that the government was doing, and the Supreme Court's going to decide on if the government has the right to hamper free speech, because they were colluding with social media and telling social media companies, hey, you need to ban this person, you need to shut this voice down. This is disinformation, which some of it come out, we found out later that, oh no, that was actually true. They were shutting down doctors for speaking their opinion and saying, hey, look, I don't think this is right. This isn't doing this, blah, 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 blah. They were shutting people down. Got people like Steven Crowder totally banned from many places. Facebook. He can't make money on YouTube no more. Sorry, cry me a river. Steven Crowder is, he's a vocal individual. I'll say that. And I don't agree with everything, for sure. I don't agree with everything he does, but I don't think it's right for these companies to be able to just shut him out like that. He has a large following, like Alex Jones. Alex Jones was completely shut off from any social media whatsoever. Yes, Alex Jones is quite eccentric, to be nice, I guess you could say. He throws out a lot of conspiracy theories. Some of them end up being correct. Some of this wild, crazy stuff. Like he was talking about Epstein Island a decade before we learned about it. Years before. He broke the Bohemian Grove story with all the elites going to Redwood Forest out in California. And, doing whatever the hell they do over there. He busted into that. Of course, that's a really old story. That was from like the late 90s, I do believe. But Alex Jones has been right on several things. But the social media, they don't care. They don't want to shut him up. People get offended. They start crying and whinging. Social media will just shut this person down. Why? They have a large following. Why can they not say what the hell they want to say? That's what the Supreme Court's about to find out. But today, we talking about Congress. Yep. We're going to get into some juicy crap, y'all. Check this story out. Knock it off. Speaker Mike Johnson tries to stop Republicans from campaigning against each other in bitter primary battles. Now, we know this has been going on for a while. We all know that the Republican Party is fractured right now, pretty badly. On one side, you have, I guess you could say, MAGA Republicans, people that have America's interests at heart. They want to put America first. For the most part, a politician is a politician, of course. And then you have the other Republicans who are just rhinos, essentially, don't care about the country. They just want to line their own pockets, right? Side with Democrats on all kinds of crap that they really shouldn't side with Democrats on. Very fiscally irresponsible, especially for some quote-unquote conservatives, right? Very, very irresponsible with money. I mean, we've got $1.7 trillion deficit spending currently. So that kind of tells you where we're at with spending. They don't seem to care. The spending problem in Washington is insane. $1.7 trillion deficit spending, right? They have a budget of $7.266 trillion, folks. If you can't do everything you need to do in government with let's take off $1.7 trillion from that. Let's just say $5 trillion. If you can't do everything you need to do with that much money, then you got some problems. If you have to go into the negative $1.7 trillion, we got some problems, folks. And Republicans and Democrats and independents alike, they are all part of the problem. They all vote for this stuff, right? Of course, some of them don't. Some people are like, no, vote no on everything. This is mostly the Republicans that I do like, Thomas Massie, Chip Roy, my favorite Republican, my favorite politician, Matt Gaetz, Anna Paulina Luna, Byron Donalds, Marjorie Taylor Greene. These people are trying to change Congress, trying to get some of the corruption out of Congress. Not doing a very good job, but at least they're trying. Of course, when you only have, what is the Freedom Caucus made up of? Like, maybe 50 members, something like that, out of 435 members, you're not going to get a whole hell of a lot done. So, in that respect, it's kind of understandable, but at least they're trying to do their thing. And that's what this story revolves around. Check it out. We're going to get into it. House Republicans who have seen their time in the majority devolve into a seemingly endless series of internal party feuds now have a new problem. GOP lawmakers targeting other sitting members in their primaries. Yes, that is right. We've got to get some of these rhinos the F out. We don't want some of these quote-unquote Republicans who aren't Republicans, who will go in back rooms and make deals with lobbyists, with Democrats, to undermine this country's economic freedom, your civil liberties, and all that stuff. We don't want these people in Congress. The Democrats, at least, they tell you that they're insane. And you know that they're insane, so if you vote with Democrats, there you go. You know what you're getting. But with the Republican Party right now, it's in disarray, if you will. And you've got two factions of the Republican Party. You've got Republicrats, and then you have actual conservatives that are trying and working really hard on conservative policies. But let's get into it. In at least 4 primaries in South Carolina, Illinois, Texas, and Virginia, Republican members are actively campaigning against one of their own, inflaming tensions in a conference where emotions are still raw in the aftermath of Kevin McCarthy's unprecedented ouster atop the House. Speaker Mike Johnson has had enough. I've asked them all to cool it, Johnson told CNN at the House GOP retreat in West Virginia last week. I am vehemently opposed to member-on-member action in primaries because it's not productive, and it causes division for obvious reasons, and we should not be engaging in that. While he is true with that, however, when you have snakes in the grass, you got to cut the grass sometimes and root out those snakes and get them out of your yard, lest you get bit, to say. Yeah, we got to get some of these people out of office. So this is a good thing to do. There is never a good time to do this. You could say maybe when, Republicans aren't in the majority, it'd be a good time to do it. But if you keep waiting and waiting and waiting to pull the trigger, it might not ever come. It's the hesitation will get you killed type of thing. There's never going to be a perfect time to slice off a section of your political party. So you just got to go for it, folks. So I'm telling everyone who's doing that to knock it off, Johnson added. And both sides, they'll say, well, we didn't start it. The other side started it. Republican Matt Gaetz, the Florida firebrand, who is spearheading the effort against 2 of the GOP incumbents, Reps Mike Bost of Illinois and Tony Gonzalez of Texas, is unmoved. Yeah, Tony Gonzalez is, get him out. I would love nothing more than to just go after Democrats, Gaetz, who led the charge to oust Kevin McCarthy, told CNN. But if Republicans are going to dress up like Democrats in drag, I'm going to go after them too. Because at the end of the day, we're not judged by how many Republicans we have in Congress. We are judged on whether or not we save the country. He is totally correct from that. We are in dire straits as far as, our government spending, our government bureaucracy. Yeah, you might not think it's bad. I read the news every single day on these subjects, and I read more articles than what I cover. So I see a lot of this stuff, and I see that, Washington is broken and some stuff needs to change, and something drastic has to happen. And we need to get a lot of these people out of there. I totally agree with Matt Gaetz on that. The feud underscores how the razor-thin House majority has proven to be almost ungovernable, leading to a state of gridlock and internal GOP warfare that has defined the 118th Congress. Yeah, fair. The battle has often pitted hardliners who advocate a no-compromise approach and want to go toe-to-toe with Democrats against many Republicans who believe they should aim for incremental victories at a time of divided government. that reminds me, those Republicans who want the incremental, baby steps at a time during a divided government, so to speak, it's kind of like that person you see walking their dog, that small person or that kid walking a huge dog, and it's more the dog is dragging the kid around. Yeah, that's what's going on with this. Democrats are going far left, insane mode, and we got these milquetoast Republicans over here like, hang on there a minute, hang on, slow down. Just freaking going right along with it. No, you got to stop. You got to pull the reins in on that dog, and you got to say, who's the boss? And that's what the House Freedom Caucus is trying to do. Yeah, no compromise because, we don't want our kids indoctrinated with woke ideology. We don't want this transgenderism crap to spread because there's a high suicidal rate when it comes to transgender people. We don't want to add to that suicidal rate. That's insane. We don't want $1.7 trillion deficit spending. We want to fix Washington. We want it back like it was in the 90s when they actually balanced the budget and could work together and do some stuff when Democrats weren't totally insane. And Republicans were rich bastards that nobody really cares for. It seems the parties have flipped these days. It seems like the current Republican Party is the old school Democrat Party, and the new Democrat Party is something totally different and insane. But let's keep going. Yet, as they struggle to hang on to their two-seat majority, Republicans have been distracted for months by internal party feuds over tactics, which many fear will only make it harder to stay in power. The primary battles are only adding to the tension. Rep. Don Bacon, a swing state Nebraska Republican, said the mood within the House GOP is depressing and that the party needs to do some soul searching. Yeah, I agree with that. They do. It's depressing when you have your own team turning on each other because you don't win when that happens. Team wins, Bacon said. We've undermined the norms of what we've had going back. Really, a couple of centuries, frankly, and now we're campaigning in each other's district. It undermines the team, so I think it's wrong. No, dude, I'm sorry. But if you have skin cancer, what do? You cut it off. You don't keep it. If you have frostbite really bad on one of your toes, what does the doctor do? He amputates it, gets rid of it, because it's going to rot and die. That's what some of the Republican Party is doing to the Republican Party right now. And we are trying to get rid of some of these people. So, like I said, it's a good thing. We might lose the majority. Who gives a flip? If we have good people in Congress, that's going to make up for that, I believe. The primary attacks go both ways. Rep. William Timmons of South Carolina is one of the embattled incumbents trying to hang on, as several members of the hardline House Freedom Caucus are trying to boot him from the seat in favor of his right-wing opponent. Ralph Norman, a fellow South Carolina Republican and member of the House Freedom Caucus, said he and about a dozen other House GOP hardliners are working on holding a big event for Timmons' challenger, Adam Morgan, who is the leader of the South Carolina's Freedom Caucus. Norman brushed off the criticism from his colleagues and said, "Morgan will be one of us." "We have to make some drastic changes," Norman told CNN. "We're losing our country. We're going bankrupt. He just had to take a leadership role, in my opinion, and we've got a man now that's heading the Freedom Caucus in South Carolina. He will fight for freedom, and he will be one of us." Timmons, who is endorsed by former President Donald Trump, defended his conservative voting record and aired his frustrations during a closed-door meeting last week, according to sources in the room. "I don't think it's about me. I think they're fighting over other things. But, at the end of the day, if you're not friends with somebody that votes with you 94% of the time, you're not going to have a lot of friends," Timmons told CNN. Oh, cry me a river. But it's not just hardliners who are making moves against their colleagues. Half a dozen House Republicans who are normally allied with leadership, including House Armed Services Chair Mike Rogers, are slated to attend an upcoming fundraiser for the Republican candidate challenging Freedom Caucus Chair Bob Good, according to multiple sources. Good was one of the 8 Republicans who voted to oust McCarthy and has created his share of enemies inside the conference with his brash style, including fellow Virginia Republican Rep. Jen Kiggans, who is among those boosting Good's primary opponent, Navy SEAL John McGuire. Rep. Eli Crane, an Arizona Republican who has also voted to oust McCarthy, says he too is being targeted in his primary because of his vote. You know how this town works, Crane told CNN. You can't come up here and just start making waves and not pay for it, right? So the way I see it's good. It just reaffirms that I'm doing what I came here to do. The member-on-member primary fights have become such a headache that Johnson and House Majority Leader Steve Scalise both took time during a closed-door presentation at their annual retreat last week to discourage members from supporting primary challengers against each other, according to sources in the room. Yet across the country on that same day, Gaetz was rallying in Texas for Brandon Herrera in his bid to defeat Gonzalez ahead of the May 28 runoff. If I was in that district in Texas, I would definitely vote for Herrera. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got a ton of followers. Just go look him up. Gaetz was embracing the split screen moment. While the rest of my colleagues on Thursday will be on retreat, I'm going to be on the advanced, he said last week. Gaetz' beef with Gonzalez, his vote in 2022 for a gun safety law that was enacted in the wake of the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, which is part of Gonzalez's district. Herrera, a gun rights activist, has seized on that vote in his campaign to oust Gonzalez in the runoff. Yes, that is called a reactionary, folks. When you have a politician that votes after a tragedy like that happens to vote to take your rights away. Yeah, all they're doing is trying to vote for the sake of their constituents because they don't want to get kicked out. They don't want to make some bad vote and have voters vote them out when it comes time to vote again. This is the sign of a bad politician. If they're willing to just brush off their beliefs and the things that they hold dear to vote a certain way to keep power, yeah, that person's got to go. Gonzalez, who represents a border district, also tangled with GOP hardliners, including fellow Texan Chip Roy, as they were negotiating the House Republicans' immigration proposal, even as he voted for the final product known as H.R. 2. And in 2022, the Texas Republican voted with a minority of his conference to codify same-sex marriage. Gonzalez says he stands by his votes. Of course, Gonzalez said, "Look what happened in Uvalde. They should never have happened." Not because he was 18 years old, not because it was an AR, because he was batshit crazy, right? So crazy, people should not have access to kill innocent people. Gonzalez added on same-sex marriage, "Look, I'm a father of 6. Whatever gay is, I'm about as far away from that as possible. But I've served with all different kinds of people in the military. You name it, and I look at the merit of an individual." When asked for his reaction about Gaetz' move against him, Gonzalez said, "Who? Yeah, right. I don't pay attention to other members," Gonzalez added. "I've had enough going on in my district. We've got our hands full." Yeah, so they do have their hands full. That's for damn sure. But I personally think this is a good thing. We need to root out some of this corruption out of government. If that means taking an L, so be it. It might be a loss, right? We might lose the majority. But if we gain more people that are there to look after America's interests, to look after the country, to quote-unquote save the country, then I'm all for that. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. And that's all I got for this one, y'all. I want to thank everybody for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button. And y'all try to have a good day and be positive. Peace.